How many of you, raise your hands if you've had a toothache? Come on, fess up, fess up. You've had toothaches? Okay. Now, it starts on Friday night, and you can't get a hold of your dentist, and you have to, go out and buy the Oragel, and you go through all the Tylenol and the Motrin and everything else you can find. Nothing works. You sit at home all weekend long hoping that you can get squeezed into your dentist's office on Monday morning. You don't want to eat. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to talk. You just want to hold your face and... You definitely don't want to be in a foreign country speaking on behalf of your children. But that's what you do if you're Nelson Lufafa. We all remember Nelson. He was here on January 31st. It was a complete fluke that I was able to attend that service, and I will never forget that day.
My name is Pastor Nelson Lufafa, and I'm the director of Save the AIDS Orphans Uganda. I come from a polygamous family. I come from a family of more than 85 children. 85, the same father, but different mothers. Being born in that kind of environment, I never experienced the father love. Every time I used to ask my mother, where is my father? And my mother would tell me, wait a minute, you see your father coming in time. I never saw my father. So even when I had a father, I was brought up like an orphan. Never seeing my father, never seeing my father loving me. But I'm glad that God is the father to the fatherless. And when I grew up and I came to Christ, I had a fire for the Lord. And one time I was in Nairobi, Kenya, where I found this kid who was eating the rubbish bin. And I asked him why he was eating the dustbin. He told me that he had lost both his parents due to HIV/AIDS pandemic. I realized that the streets of our towns are so overwhelmed by many street children. As a result, that the extended families are not either willing to take care of them or able to take care of these orphaned children. The church has a special responsibility to take care of the orphaned children. I felt called to be part of, to help the orphaned children.
Now I need to tell you a little bit something about me. I come from a dental family. My dad was a dentist. My mother was a hygienist. When I was a kid in the 60s, my dear parents would give out toothbrushes for Halloween. It's like, don't go to that house. They're giving out toothbrushes. It was incredibly embarrassing, but it obviously left quite an impression on me. Now, on that Sunday, I'm listening to Nelson talk about his family and the needs of the kids, and they got to raise money for a well, and I'm sitting there, and all I can think about is, how can I get toothbrushes to those kids? And the whole rest of the service, I'm sorry, Rich, that's all I thought about was toothbrushes. Okay. So after church, I go out to bat, and I said, my sister's a hygienist. She works for my dentist. How can I get toothbrushes to these kids? And he goes, Nelson has a toothache. And my heart went out to him right then and there because I could relate to his pain. I don't know if you remember, but he wasn't smiling the whole time he was talking. He had a class 1 toothache. So I ran out to my car. I got my cell phone, called my sister, told her what was going on. What do I do? And she says, which tooth is it? So right in the lobby, I go, Nelson, which tooth is it? And he opens his mouth, and I said, there's lots of things that could be in pain in here. and she says, okay, first thing, Monday morning, you call, get Missy to squeeze him in, and get him in to see the doctor. So I called first thing the next morning, and I called Nelson. I said, I'm picking you up in an hour. And for the next 2 weeks, Nelson and I drove around in my little Mini Cooper, and it became his office. We made several trips to the banks. We made 6 trips to the dentist. We made friends with people at Western Union. And It was an amazing 2 weeks. We prayed before we ventured out every day. We sang as we drove along, and I'll never forget that time with him. I asked him one day, what could I possibly do if I were to come to Uganda? I can't dig ditches. I can't build homes. What could Laurie Woodward do if she came? Well, Nelson said, you could pray and play with the children. There's 86 kids. He's got 3 of his own, and he's parenting 83 others. Their parents have all died of HIV/AIDS, and Nelson and his wife have created a nurturing and loving family environment for them so that when they grow up, they'll know how to live a monogamous, godly, loving way and be an asset to their community. This is not an orphanage for kids to be adopted out. He's parenting them so that they can stay in Uganda. And then he said, you could pray with the widows that he serves. And he had seen me knitting and crocheting during the whole times for all of his doctor's appointments. And he says, you can teach the widows how to knit and crochet. Okay, I can do that. And then he said, you can help me organize my office. And I went, really? When can I come? Now, I have been a bookkeeper for 30 years. My most favorite thing in life is to balance a bank statement, and next to that, you give me a messy office, and I'll have my own party organizing it. I know you think I'm crazy, but that's how God wired me up. So we prayed about it, and Nelson went back home with a suitcase full of toothpaste and dental floss and 250 toothbrushes that the great doctor, as he became known to Nelson, gave to him. He and his staff gave to him. This is the picture of the day that he handed out toothbrushes to those kids. Have you ever been that excited to get a toothbrush? I never have. About 3 weeks after Nelson left, I noticed that my enthusiasm was waning, and I didn't want to lose that. So I got my calendar out and I start looking at dates, and I ask at work, can I hold this year's vacation over to next year? And sure, okay, fine, all right. Let's check some airfares, and we better get the passport renewed, okay? And then I told Bat, I'm going to Uganda. I'm going. And first thing he said to me was, go without. So on my bathroom mirror, I've got a sign that said to me, go without to get to Uganda, so I could save money for my airfare. He also told me to start a list of the things that I want to take with me. Well, toothbrushes, of course, are the very first thing on that list. And then the little wheels in my head started to spin. My favorite Bible verse is Psalms 37:4. It's on a tile in my shower. I see it every day. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. There has never been a free dental clinic in all of Jinja. I don't know how many people there are in Jinja, but there's a lot of people. Only the very rich can afford dental care. The desire that God has given to me, that's dear to my heart, is to build a dental clinic for Irene, who is one of Nelson's daughters that he's putting through college. She's going to be a dentist. She's going to dental school in Kampala, and she'll graduate this November. My desire is to build her a dental clinic for her and for all the community of Jinja. And I am inviting you to be a part of my dream. I want all of you to be blessed the way I have been blessed. This is a Jinja jug. I have made 140 of these. All you have to do is set it out, pray over it, and put your change in it every day. And paper money will fit in there too. The Stow website and my blog address is on the front. Each jug is numbered. My phone number is on the back, so when it gets filled up, you give me a call. I come empty it, give it back to you, you fill it again. I am going to Uganda next April. We have plenty of time to raise money to build a dental clinic. Our small change can make a really big change. I have no idea how much it'll cost to build a dental clinic, but God does. My sister's favorite verse, and she's always telling me this, is Psalms 138:8. The Lord will accomplish what concerns me. When I get home from my trip next year, I'm going to show you a picture of the Agape Dental Clinic. Thank you.